Okay, welcome back. Greetings, Brian Keeler here. I'm in my studio in Ithaca, New York, and I'm resuming this painting that I was working on location, a plein air painting overlooking Seneca Lake. And you can see it here on my easel. I've been working on it a little bit more here in my studio. And as I said, I did two plein air sessions, one before you saw me in the previous video. And that was on a day where the sun was out, and then yesterday it was snowing. So I stuck with the sunlit version of the evening view, and I just liked the light better on the first day. Okay, this video is somewhat of a introduction. It's going to be a short video, and but I just wanted to encourage you to go to my website, briankeeler.com, and you can see the website on your screen here now. And I have a number of videos there, short ones that are free, but I also have several that you can order, full-length videos that were done here in my studio, and 3 that were also done in Cincinnati at the Artist Network, and they're very thorough and very instructive and all kinds of great information. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit of work here on the on the painting for the video, and I'm going to start off with some general things. I've changed the sky significantly since yesterday. I've lightened these lower clouds, but I've kept with the kind of lavender color scheme that I mentioned yesterday. And one of the other things I've changed the arrangement here. I mentioned that yesterday, that I didn't like the intervals that much, so I've changed the design. But right here now, I'm going to do a little bit of work on the sunlight that's coming through, and I'm going to use this round brush. And you can, if you can come down to my palette here now, I'll show you what I'm going to mix up. I'm taking this white and mixing it with a little bit of Naples yellow and a tad of yellow ochre. And what I'm endeavoring to do is to get a color to indicate the glow of the sun. So it's just a warm light that I'm mixing up here. So now I'm back to the painting here, and I'm just going to feather on some light color here to indicate how the sun. It was behind these clouds, but it was creating kind of a glow here, a halation effect. And also down into the bottom cloud below it, I have this lightening a value. I'm doing 2 things. I'm lightening it and I'm warming the color. So I'm going more toward the yellow, but keeping it somewhat subdued there, just to suggest this this glow of the sun here. And I'm going to use my finger here to just soften it, to blend it. And that's pretty much what I wanted to get here, is this glow of the sunlight coming through. I'm going to go up and do some other lights here. What happens oftentimes is the sun hits the underside of the clouds here. And that's what I'm doing here now, is indicating the sunlight coming up and hitting the bottom of clouds. I'm keeping the brushwork more or less loose and kind of suggestive, rather than rendering it and being too descriptive. So that's the idea, and it kind of suggests this progression of layers of clouds going back into space here too. Okay, I'll probably work on that more a little bit later, but I'm going to switch to another area here now. I'm going to go to the area behind the trees here, the actual lake area. And you can come down to my palette here again, if you would here. I'm going to mix up actually not much different than that color that I already have here. I'm going for a low chroma or low intensity blue, And I'm putting a little bit of black in there to kind of a bluish gray, low intensity gray to come in here. I'm going to test it out to see if that's about right, and it is here. Okay, so what I'm doing here is lighting in it, but I'm sort of going to be carving out the trees. The way that I've done the trees here is just sort of to mask them in rather than to indicate individual limbs and branches. And so I'm going back in here now and kind of popping in the light as it comes through the air holes. So the whole process here is going from the general to the specific, and later on I'll get a little more detailed as I progress along. But this is sort of the different approaches to doing trees in the winter, and I tend to mask them, especially in the plein air aspect, because the limbs kind of merge together from a distance, and that's the way these limbs are being, I'm seeing them from a distance rather than up close. But on a later stage I'll go back in and detail them up somewhat. But I like the way they look here now, just as sort of masked in areas here. Okay, so the bales I invented, but I've seen bales in many fields, and they were probably in this field too. It was a hay field, so at one time they were probably there. But I like them as a element to work in the perspective. They supply a foreground element that leads one back into space, and I think about the positioning of them. I had a third bale back here, but I took it off because it was on this green grass, and I thought that there would probably not be bales on the lawn there, so I removed that for those reasons. Okay, so I have a fair amount of work to do here. I'm going to go back into the house at a later session, but I just wanted to show you this for now to see how these get transformed into my studio. I've changed the sky significantly since yesterday. You may remember I was working on this, and I lightened that and taken it away from the yellowish tone that I had yesterday, but that yellow still comes through and warms it kind of from beneath. So I think that's about all I wanted to do in this video session. So thank you so much for your attention.